live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and blasttheradio.com. This is The Lowell Green Show. The number to call and be heard around the world is 613-413-2217. Or email Lowell at blasttheradio.com. And now, here is Lowell Green.
John, thank you. Folks, how many of you agree with me that this Trudeau government is the most destructive we have ever seen in this country? Let me explain some of my thinking here, and I'd be glad to hear from you. I mean, let's be very honest, okay? This country today should be booming. The money should be pouring in here. The money should be coming into Canada so rapidly that we have difficulty in keeping track of it. Billions should be pouring in here right now and could be pouring in. In fact, the world would be far better off if the billions were pouring in here. Oil and gas prices are soaring. We have one of the world's largest supply of oil and natural gas. The world cries out literally for energy, oil, and gas. They don't want to buy from Russia anymore. Desperately need it. But thanks to Trudeau, and Trudeau only, we have so crippled our oil and gas industry that not only can we not supply a single foreign market other than discounted through the United States, we can't supply foreign markets. We can't even supply our own country. Here we are, sparsely populated, with one of the world's largest supplies of natural oil and gas. We can't supply our own country. And if the CP rail continues, pretty soon we won't even be able to supply our own country with wheat. United States is begging Saudi Arabia, Iran, Venezuela, please, 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 cries Biden, supply us with some oil and gas. Meantime, we in Canada, we can't do it. Well, Biden's partially responsible for that, but then so is Trudeau. Well, we can't get our oil and gas to market. Countries like Russia, Iran, Venezuela, Saudi Arabia suck up the billions, and we are forced to sit on the sidelines, our hands tied like helpless, bleating sheep, unable to do a damn thing except wish that the money were coming here. Well, some of us. Apparently, if you're a liberal or an NDP, you don't want the money. You think the money would be far better off sent to Russia, to Venezuela, to Saudi Arabia. Well, it's far better off rather than give jobs to people in Alberta and the rest of Canada. No, let us make the despots, the sheiks, and the dictators richer and richer and richer. I'm not exaggerating. This is exactly what's happening. And the destruction goes far beyond that, folks. While Trudeau runs up more debt than all, and this is true, Trudeau runs up more debt than all previous governments in this country combined, sends our debt well over $1.5 trillion. He hires, listen to this. If you don't think this is destructive, then you better look up the word destructive. While tens of thousands of people in this country are laid off or lose their jobs or have their hours shortened because of the pandemic, while all of this is going on, we now learn this morning that Trudeau's government hired 20,000 people in the 2 years of the pandemic, cost us taxpayers $4.5 billion freaking dollars. What? Folks, I'm not making this up. Tens of thousands of people in this country lost jobs, lost hours. Many of them lost their businesses. While Trudeau sent all kinds of public servants to work from home. Some of them didn't have anything to do, so they did nothing. But in the 2 years of the pandemic, 20,000 additional federal public servants hired, $4.5 billion added to the $1.5 trillion debt. And to rub it in our faces even more, according to the Canadian Taxpayer Association Federation, many billions of dollars which Trudeau pumped out during the pandemic, they can't be accounted for. Billions of dollars sprayed out for various infrastructure projects, maybe, perhaps, we think, maybe. Somehow or other, the government lost track of it. No accounting was done. This is the Canadian Taxpayers Federation. No accounting was done for billions and billions and billions of our money that was poured out. They don't know what happened to it. And by the way, there's no attempt being made to find out where the money went. It's just disappeared into the ether. Billions. Interest payments on the Trudeau's debt is now well over $1 billion a month. Folks, I'm not making this up. This is all, this is all from government figures itself. Over $1 billion a month in interest taken from you and me and you, John, and your wife or anybody else out there that's paying tax, money taken from you and given to the big banks, the big insurance company, and of course, the sheiks. $1 billion a month. Money not available for health care, not available for education, not available to fix the potholes. Just $1 billion a month, federal. By the way, in addition to that, we are told that we have supply chain problems. And CP Rail goes on strike, and the government allows it. Why does the government allow it? Well, because the NDP, God bless the NDP, says it is opposed to any legislation to send the CP workers back to work. If it continues, they tell us that we will have even more serious supply chain problems. In fact, some experts are saying that if it continues for very long, the economy of this country will collapse. That's their word, not mine. Collapse. One of the problems is fertilizer. I don't know if you're aware of this or not, but CP Rail is the major shipper of fertilizer to Western farmers. And very soon they're going to need the fertilizer because seeding begins very soon. And if they don't have fertilizer, I'm going to tell you, if you don't have fertilizer, your crops are going to be really, really bad. Not only will they not, we hope that somehow or other CP will go back, but already they say that the shortage, I mean, a lot of this stuff is already piled up. Now it's going to get even worse. And the government sits there, does bugger all because the NDP says it's opposed. And the Liberals need the NDP to stay alive. Now, if that's not destructive enough for you, I want to remind you that 11 days from now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 11 days from now, despite soaring of everything, inflation the highest in 30 years, guess what happens on April 1st? I'm sure that most of you don't believe this, but on April 1st, unless Trudeau changes his mind, or what's left of his mind, or anyway, the carbon tax is going to be doubled. The Canadian Taxpayers Federation says this will add about $250 to $270 a year, average family, just to heat your home. It'll add, we're not sure, anywhere from about 7 cents to 11 cents a liter at gasoline at the pump, and it'll for diesel. This is really going to help the supply chain as well. And one of the things I've told you many times before that some of the farmers in Saskatchewan and Alberta, even small number in Manitoba, had bills of between $4,000 and $5,000 per month in carbon tax just for the propane to dry their grain. We are now being told that this additional carbon tax will add $400 to $500 per month to those bills. That, folks, that cost got to be passed on to you. Your pizza costs a little bit more, your pasta costs a bit more, bread costs a bit more. Well, one of the reasons it costs more is because the carbon tax costs more. What it does, I have no idea what benefits we get from carbon tax. We sure don't see any smaller cars out there, which is apparently the main purpose. I could go on and on and on and talk about some of the other destructive things that this government has done. Alienation, particularly of the West, the bribing of large sections of the media. Unfortunately, they didn't bribe me. Um, but one of the saddest things, most tragic things, is having to sit here like three lost sheep, bah, 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 doomed from now to eternity, while Russia, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Venezuela, and that great democratic nation of Iran gets rich selling oil and gas. We're stuck here on the sidelines. Sorry, folks. We can't supply you with oil or gas, but you've got one of the world's largest supplies of oil and gas. It's there in the ground. Not only that, but you have probably the world's safest way to bring it out, the most environmental friendly method of extracting it from the ground. Why can't we buy your oil and gas? Well, because Trudeau said no pipelines. So we can't get it to you. And we have turned down 18 separate liquid natural gas plants in the past 7 years. Why did you do that? Well, they're bad for the environment. Oh, wait a minute, hold it. You just turned down this giant liquid natural gas plant in Saguenay, would have produced 11 million tons of natural gas a year, which would be pretty well all Europe needs. You turned that down because of the environment, yeah, but you didn't turn down that giant cement plant, which is far worse. Well, you explain it to me, folks. You vote Liberal, I don't, or NDP. We, you know, oil prices soar. Russia earns many millions more every day. And one of the most tragic things of that is this is the money they're using to buy and manufacture the bombs and the missiles that they're using to rain down on civilians in Ukraine. Meanwhile, we sit here like a bunch of dummies. We can't even bring refugees here for almost a month now. I repeat, folks, you agree, you may disagree. I believe the Trudeau government, and I think I have the evidence to prove it, is the most destructive by far this country has ever seen, damaging not only to Canada, but now to the entire world that cries out for what we have, but can't get it to them. And in just 11 days, rejoice, please, April 1st, it's no joke, the freaking carbon tax goes up again. Sacre bleu black, the bing bong bat. What the hell can I say? John, go ahead. What have you got there, boy?
Hey, you know what else happens April 1st, don't you?
What's that?
The MPs on the Hill all get a raise.
Yep. Well, I mentioned the fact that they've hired, can you believe, John? They've hired
20,000.
This is reported in the Globe and Mail, even the Toronto Star, the great liberal
I saw it.
mouthpiece. 20,000 employees hired in the last 2 years, while thousands of public servants sat at home with nothing to do. This is what passes as management. This is what people vote for. You voted for this, folks. 20,000 new employees, well, many of you lost your jobs or lost your hours. Not one single public servant that I am aware of has ever been reported lost their jobs or had the jobs reduced. As a matter of fact, during the 2 years of the pandemic, while most of the rest of the country was taking job cuts or pay cuts. Public servants and MPs got 2 raises. Not one, 2 raises. This is what you voted for, folks. This is what we got. John, what are people saying?
All right, lots of comments, and we invite yours as well. The phone number is 613-413-2217. You can text that number as well. Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, Twitter. We've got all the bases covered there. Wherever you would ordinarily post your comments, and I will get them on the screen. I will read as many as I can to Lowell. Whatever's left at the end of the show, I will email to Lowell. All right, Chris is on Twitch. He says the carbon tax is allegedly revenue neutral because they offer green rebates to people who adopt environmental-friendly items like Energy Star appliances. Shout out to Shield, or electric cars. However, it's a bit of a fool's errand since people who can afford the electric car are often higher earning, and those paying are, as always, the lowest earning individuals who cannot benefit from these rebates. The rich win as usual. Dawn, I believe this is the first time we've heard from you. Yeah, go ahead.
I'd like to ask anybody, is there anybody out there that got any of these carbon rebates? I sure as hell didn't. Did you, John?
Nope. Not a dime, Lowell. I don't even qualify for SIR because I decided to keep my business open. I should have gone to work for the government, I guess. I didn't know that they were hiring that many. To Facebook, Don says, hi, Lowell. I'm a senior citizen living on a pension. Where does that leave me and many other senior citizens who worked hard all of our adult lives?
You know what? If you're a pensioner, you're on a fixed income, you've been employed by private business. Can I be very honest with you? As far as this government is concerned, you're just a piece of shit. Sorry to be so blunt. I may be overstating, but I think I'm fairly accurate. You don't amount to, let me be more polite, a hill of beans. My grandpa used to use that phrase. You don't amount to a hill of beans. You're no more good than tits in a boar. Go ahead.
To Twitch, and Julie says, and yet we all forget so fast on the impact of how the Phoenix pay system still affects the federal government workers 6 years later. We went months without pay and are still trying to get it fixed. Janet,
you know what? I'm sorry, but don't cry for them, okay? I mean, come on. You got paid. It was unfortunate, but you kept your job. You kept your benefits. You know, have a little bit of mercy and pity for the tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people who lost their jobs, lost their businesses, lost their homes. Go ahead, please, John.
Janet on Facebook says he still did not clean up the water up north, one of his very first promises. Darlene says, Lowell, you are 150% accurate.
Actually, 155%. Okay.
155%. Oh, we've added the carbon tax to it, have we?
All right.
Jane says, I filled up my van today and there was a sticker of Trudeau on the pump saying, I did this. Someone is not happy. Let me see. Let's go to Mahadi. I just want Justin Trudeau to resign. Now he's done a lot of damage to our nation and our country. Craig says they can't find billions of dollars, yet they can find out who donated $25 to the truckers. Is that convenient or by design?
You know, that's I've seen that posted on Facebook. It's very true. They've lost billions and billions of dollars that was poured out through climate Barbies. What was her name? Her name escapes me. I hate her so much that I can't remember.
Catherine McKenna.
This was her department. And apparently there's billions and billions of dollars. This is according to the Canadian Taxpayers Federation. Billions of dollars just cannot be accounted for. But Craig is right. They can't account for billions that went through Climate Barbie's department, but they can find somebody that donated $25 perfectly legally to the convoy. It's beautiful. It's freaking beautiful. Go ahead.
On Twitch, Laurentian View Terry says the NDP have a lot to answer for, too. They've propped up this gang of boneheads for too long. I agree 11,000% with Lowell, says Peter. Terry.
11,000. Very good.
11. Yeah, we're climbing. Yep, we're climbing and climbing here. Terry says Canada would have so much money we could build our own nuclear bomb.
No, but you know what we could build? With the money, it's over $1 billion a month in interest payments, which in no way benefit anybody other than the rich. Okay? It's money from the middle class and the poor to the rich. That's what interest payments on the debt are. For $1 billion, just think, $1 billion a month, we could build almost one brand new hospital in this country every single month. We could hire 10,000 more nurses. We could hire 20,000 more personal support workers so that people could stay in their own homes. I could go on and on. That's money that goes from you right out of your pot. Here's my wallet, okay? There's my wallet. I don't have a damn single cent in there. Government's got every freaking dollar I have. That's true. I'll show you. I don't have any money in there at all. No cash. It's all gone. Government got it all. Where did a lot of it go? To the sheiks, to the despots, to Putin. Go ahead, please.
A couple of comments on YouTube. Hi, Dan, and hi, Hein, both watching on YouTube. Dan says, petroleum is dirty. Exploring for it, burning it, pipelining it. It's toxic. Let's move on, says Dan.
Oh, kiss me arse. Dan.
Right.
I mean, you know what? You're just a freaking idiot. If you think this is funny, nothing funny about it, okay? We're pumping money into Russia. We're pumping money into Saudi Arabia because we can't even supply our own people. And you think it's a big bloody joke? You're an idiot. Go ahead.
The Trudeau government.
Can I be any more blunt than that, John?
In my experience, no.
Okay.
And I've been doing this almost 300 shows now. Paul says the Trudeau government is a complete failure. James in Canada says, as sad as it sounds, we lost leadership when Harper departed. Peter's on Facebook saying, but Trudeau is in the pocket for the anti-oil people like Soros and Suzuki, etc. Eric says, look, Lowell, you cannot become a world leader in green energy if you sell oil to the world.
Well, yeah. What's green energy? By the way, very interesting. Europe has now decided and has officially classified natural gas and nuclear as green energy. Good for them. Finally come to their senses. Go ahead, John, please.
Denise says, this is from the WEF website. CPP Investments Canada Pension Plan Investment Board is a professional investment management organization that invests the funds not needed by the Canada Pension Plan to pay current benefits to 20 million contributors and beneficiaries. Okay. Chrissy's wondering if David Suzuki's still around. Wonder what he thinks of the climate. Mike says we will be relying on petroleum for at least another decade, if not more. Let's go to text 613-413-2217. Trudeau wouldn't know common sense if it was slapping him in the face like it is right now. He's only taking care of his rich friends. He will let the oil industry starve while he gives away millions to convicted terrorists and to grocery barons for new refrigerators. Gregory says, yeah.
That's true. How much money did he give to Loblaws? $12 million.
It was
$12 million.
It was ridiculous. Gregory says Blanchette, Singh, and Bernier also to blame for not backing the Conservatives. Biden and Trudeau are anti-oil, but buy dirty oil from terrorist countries. Good thinking, not.
Well, wait a minute. Biden is not exactly anti-oil. He's just anti, Canadian oil. He wants oil from, not from Russia, I guess. Although he's still, he's still buying oil from Russia, and so are we, by the way, refined oil. But he wants it from Iran, the great friend of the United States, Iran. He's pleaded with Iran, please send us some oil. Okay, we don't want that damn dirty Canadian oil. Okay, it's they're too nice up there. We don't want to buy oil from them. Venezuela, that great democracy in Venezuela. Saudi Arabia, where they whip women who show an ankle. That's who Biden, and he's the darling of the left. Darling of the left. Let's give the money to the sheiks. Go ahead, please.
Barry's on hold, but let's get a word in for Shields. We're 24 minutes into the show here, so.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, for some reason I don't have a clock anymore here. Well, I guess we can't afford a clock.
Did the Liberals confiscate that too, Lowell?
Somebody mentioned appliances, how you get a rebate if you buy an energy, whatever the hell. What is Energy Star?
Energy Star.
Yeah, but the problem is that this is the same government that said only Energy Star appliances can be sold now in the new year. And Energy Star appliances are much more expensive. This really helps middle class and lower income people. All of the cheaper appliances, you may still be able to get them from Shields. I'm not sure. But if you are getting some of these non-Energy Star, please don't make it public, because I don't know. All I know is that I better be careful what I say here. All I can say here is that, if the government claims it's going to give you something, don't believe them. Not this government anyway. But you can believe Shields. If Shields says they're going to save you money, they will. Shields says they'll have a delivery within 2 to 3 days, they will. Shields says that they have the best deal in the city, then they do. You can believe Shields. They're good people, Valley people, good people. And by the way, huge warehouse there. Everything you want, excuse me, all of the major brands, etc. Shields.ca. Yes, John.
All right, Barry's on the line. Barry, go ahead. You're on live with Lowell Green.
G'day, Lowell.
Try and keep it short this time, Barry. Go ahead, please.
I will make it real quick. I just wanted to give you another example of poor government and poor running of the government, which I felt and noticed for almost 40 years.
Okay.
The whole time in my working life, you always look at your paycheck. There's so much taken off for UIC. There's so much taken off for CPP. Now, what I've said since I retired, now, Trudeau came out with the guaranteed income supplement for people on Canada Pension Plan to help adjust them up to where they get a bit more money. But instead of doing that, in 40 years, Lowell, I've never once been contacted by Canada Pension Plan and asked if I wanted to pay more money into a better pension plan. Now, if they had, like 3 or 4 different types of plans, maybe a low-income earner was a single person or something like that could work by themselves and afford to pay more into their pension. Nobody in the government in Canada Pension Plan realizes it's going to be more expensive to live when somebody retires.
But Barry, the fact of the matter is that they only hired 20,000 new employees in the last 2 years. There aren't enough public servants to do that, Barry. You're being unreasonable here, sir. Thank you for the call. Sorry, we're almost out of time here, and we got a crazy beep or something there.
He's a very popular guy, Barry. A lot of people trying to call him. More people trying to call Barry than trying to call Lowell Green. Makes no damn sense.
I know.
Robert says, make OAS tax-free. Shield rocks, says Darlene. All right, Gregory says, and Ottawans wonder why all the trucks showed up. Anne is on Facebook. She says, our government boasts to the rest of the world how great we are in fighting global warming while we are being left in the dust by other nations. Let me see. 20,000 more votes for Trudeau, says Terry. JP says, our energy sector is a mess. Don't forget our poor military.
Can I ask some of you lefties out there, some of you green energy people, how is the Earth's climate improved by using Russian and Saudi Arabian oil rather than Canadian oil? All of the experts tell us that Canadian oil now is the cleanest in the world. We have developed methods of extracting oil without the emissions that many other countries. We have much better safety records. We pay our people much better. So how is the Earth's climate improved by buying Russian oil or Saudi Arabian oil than Canadian? Because that's what the left is saying. No, we can't have Canadian oil. We must have Russian oil. We must have Saudi Arabia. I'd just like to know how that improves the climate. Go ahead, John.
All right, about a minute left and just enough comments to get us to the bottom of the hour. Peter says the economy has already crashed. Just bury it and shut out the lights. Yes, he adds, add the increase to carbon tax, plus MPs get a raise because they all work so hard, greedy assholes. Eric says, and we're still being told inflation is still under 5%. David says, but Trudeau believes...
No, sorry. The latest figures, this is from the Canadian government itself, says inflation is at 5.7%. and rising. It's the highest in 30 years. Go ahead.
David says, but Trudeau believes that his price on pollution tax, you get money back. JP says, Justin Trudeau's out of touch. The carbon tax is just another tax grab. Janet says, we are up Schitt's Creek with this government. Cheryl, go ahead, Lowell. You want it in there?
Well, I was just saying that, they say, oh, well, we're refunding all this money. Maybe that's why they had to hire the 20,000 people to send the money back. So, I mean, you know what? Anyhow, go ahead, John. We're almost out of time.
We are. It's 2:30, so let's just get these in. Cheryl says Trudeau's just like Teflon, shit slides off of him, and he or the Liberals won't have to be held accountable for any of this. Lowell, let's face it, Trudeau or his party won't go without groceries or any necessities. Agree with you 100%. Kevin says,
just want to point out before I go that we can't even get the oil and gas to our own people, let alone help out Europe, which in turn would help Ukraine. The fact that we can't supply Europe with oil and gas means they have to continue buying it from Russia at greatly inflated prices. This is the money that Russia is using to buy the bombs and missiles which are now raining down on innocent civilians. You can make the link yourself. Thank you all. We'll be back tomorrow.
The Lowell Green Show is seen and heard live around the world at 2 p.m. Eastern. Connect with us online at blasttheradio.com/Lowell Green. Can't join us live? Download the Lowell Green podcast. Available on Apple, Spotify, Google, and more. Ask your smart speaker to play the Lowell Green podcast. This is a production of blasttheradio.com.